The winter rain struck the window like quiet whispers of sorrow as little 7-year-old Mason sat at the kitchen table with a broken pencil, trying hard to write something he hoped would fix everything. His mother, Claire, sat only a few feet away, but her world felt miles apart. Mascara streaked her face, her sweater sleeves were wet from wiping tears, and her heart throbbed in a way she didn't know how to soothe. Mason stared at her, then looked back down at his paper. He didn't ask for toys. He didn't ask for games. He only wrote 7 fragile words onto a note card meant for Christmas. To Santa, please make my mommy stop crying. If you believe that kindness, second chances, and unseen miracles still exist in today's world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement truly helps us reach more hearts. Claire thought life couldn't get harder. She had lost her job at a small bakery in Portland, Oregon, when the owner closed down due to financial collapse. Her husband had left nearly 2 years ago, leaving behind promises that dissolved faster than winter snow against warm ground, bills stacked like silent accusations on the counter. Her car hadn't started in 3 weeks. The refrigerator hummed, but rarely offered enough food. Christmas was days away, but warmth felt far away, and hope had taken shelter somewhere she could not find. Mason wasn't old enough to understand debt, abandonment, or exhaustion, but he understood tears. Every night before trying to sleep, he heard his mother crying in her room. Every morning she tried to smile, making pancakes with too little batter and courage that always seemed to break. Mason saw her trying, and that hurt him the most. Claire noticed the card later that night, tucked under Mason's pillow like something meant to be hidden. When she read it, her knees weakened. She pressed the small card to her chest, trembling, her tears now mixed with guilt. She told herself she was being strong, but her child saw the cracks she didn't know how to hide. That same card somehow ended up elsewhere. Mason had placed it in the mailbox, thinking Santa truly read letters. He had no idea that the address printed on it wasn't the North Pole, but instead reached a temporary forwarding location that processed children's holiday letters for a community charity fund. That was where billionaire widower Nicholas Winslow picked it up. Nicholas was not the kind of man most people imagined a billionaire to be. He wasn't loud, wasn't flashy, and did not chase things the world was impressed by. His life had changed dramatically 3 winters earlier when he lost his wife, Meredith, to cancer. Since then, his days were quiet, filled with boardrooms, executive meetings, and silent dinners in a home too large for one person. Christmas wasn't celebration anymore. It was memory. When he read Mason's note, he paused longer than normal. A simple request, no demands for gifts, no childish demands for a game console or video game credits. Just a line from a child who wanted his mother to smile again. Nicholas sat in his office chair for minutes, thinking. Money could fix things like roofs, heaters, debts, but could it fix tears? That night he searched for the address on the envelope, and by morning he was standing outside Claire's small rental house with the letter in his hand. Claire opened the door to find a stranger in an expensive dark coat holding an envelope, looking almost hesitant. Mason sat beside his mother, holding a cushion tight. Nicholas introduced himself gently, saying that he had come because of Mason's letter. At first, Claire thought it must be a scam, some real estate pitch or charity trick, but something in Nicholas's voice wasn't scripted. It was sincere. When Nicholas stepped into the warm living room, he saw very little furniture, a nearly empty pantry shelf, and a young boy quietly sitting near his mother as if guarding her from the rest of the world. Nicholas asked Claire what she needed, not pity, not sympathy, just short-term relief so she could breathe again. Claire didn't answer. She only said, "We're fine," even when her voice cracked. But Mason, with his little voice, whispered, "My mommy cries every night." Nicholas felt something shift inside him. He offered groceries, arranging them for delivery that same day. He called the local auto shop to repair Claire's car. He contacted people he knew who ran small businesses, asking if any needed seasonal help. One bakery, managed by an older woman near downtown, immediately agreed to hire Claire starting after Christmas. Everything started changing in ways Claire didn't expect. In the days leading up to Christmas, Nicholas visited again, bringing small decorations Mason could hang. Nothing expensive, just tiny white lights and paper ornaments. Mason laughed as he decorated their small corner shelf because they didn't have a real tree. Claire watched the scene unfold, her heart opening slowly like winter sunlight breaking through gray clouds. Christmas morning arrived quietly. No piles of wrapped boxes, no stocked floor beneath a tall tree. Just 3 beautifully wrapped gifts Nicholas had dropped off late the night before. Mason opened a coat, a blue storybook Bible, and a small remote control car. Claire found an envelope, not filled with cash, but with something that meant more. A job confirmation letter, plus an advance paycheck to help her start. She cried again, but this time her son smiled because they were different tears. Life began shifting. Claire arrived at work with nervousness taped to her confidence, but slowly she found joy in greeting customers, preparing fresh bread, decorating pastries. She relearned how to laugh. Mason began smiling wider. He drew pictures again and taped them to the fridge. The little pantry shelf no longer sat empty. The house felt lighter. Nicholas didn't disappear. He continued visiting once a week, sometimes bringing dinner, sometimes just bringing a listening ear. He never asked for recognition. He never made it about himself. He simply showed up. 3 months later, Mason handed Nicholas a drawing. It showed 3 stick figures, 1 tall man, 1 boy, and 1 woman, with a house, a blue sky, and 3 hearts above them. Nicholas held it quietly, understanding that sometimes families aren't born, they are formed through kindness. Claire eventually invited Nicholas to dinner, just something simple, pasta and garlic bread, but it wasn't about food, it was about belonging. That night, Nicholas told Mason stories about his wife, about things he used to do before silence took over his life. Mason listened and placed his small hand on Nicholas's arm, as if telling him that love never disappears. It only changes direction. Spring began warming the ground. The house now had curtains. Mason's laughter echoed. Claire smiled without trying, and Nicholas found himself looking forward to something beyond business meetings and large homes with empty hallways. If this story has touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so more people can see how simple kindness can change a life forever. Before the story ends, please comment with just one word: hope. Because sometimes all a child asks from Santa is what adults forgot how to give. And sometimes miracles don't arrive in red suits or sleigh bells, but in quiet footsteps at your door, holding a letter and deciding to care.